Hey, I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. Time to have a couple laughs. April Macie's here with us.
Oh, I'm ready to give a couple laughs. Look at the firm handshake.
Gotta go with that as well. We mean business here.
Sturdy. That was real sturdy.
How's everything going?
It's really good.
Yeah?
It's
good
really
to have you in New York.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. I just paid like $400 for a dinner last night. And you guys are foolishly expensive.
How many people did you go out to dinner with?
Three.
You guys had some drinks?
No drinks, and it was a
Where'd you go?
expensive meal. Just some
just
regular,
a nice spot?
Just a nice spot with seafood.
Yeah, well, seafood
Yeah.
you're gonna start paying up.
Yeah,
but again, you're like, can we just have like
aggressive.
a little aggressive?
It was aggressive.
I mean, $400 for seafood, like, can we just scale it back a little bit?
Bring it back, yeah.
Hey, but at least you got a Netflix special
And
with
now
all
I
your
do.
different
That's
friends.
what we were all spending that Netflix cash. Just blowing
like, it's
through
my
it,
time.
just blowing
Seafood,
through it.
yep, let's do this thing.
I can afford it now.
So what's it been like for you, for someone that's toured and done comedy for such a long time, to have a whole new pocket of people being like, oh, I know who April is now, and she's hilarious.
Oh,
What's
it's
it been like?
exciting. I'm empty on the inside, so I need a tremendous amount of
You need that
elevation.
ego boost there?
Yeah. That's what we do it for, right? Like you need to fill that self-esteem pocket.
Totally.
It's like a bucket with a hole. It just falls out the bottom, and then you need to keep putting it back in.
Just keep refilling it the whole time.
Keep refilling that bucket.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so cool that Tiffany Haddish opened the door for all you guys because, again, we were talking off camera, like, you can be doing the thing, but just having people think about you and being front of mind is such a difficult thing. So what was it like being presented with this, and how have things kind of changed for you?
Well, I feel like I knew she was a star. Like 2011, I have an email to a manager, like it was my old manager, and I was like, this chick's a star. Like, you know, sometimes you watch somebody and there's like a gleam in their eye, just like a certain presence, and I'm like, how did I know? But it took the industry.
It's pretty fascinating, right?
It is. I feel like as a comic, you have a better idea. It's not, there's somebody on stage where they're like, this person's a dullard, and you start looking around the room to see when they're going to get the light. And I feel like those are the people often the industry kind of elevates. And I'm like, didn't you see the person with star quality for years?
Yeah, some people fit a certain mold, or they work with a certain narrative, and it's like, here's Tiffany, and she'd been doing the thing for a long time, and then finally a couple people are like, yes, we're going to make this person a big deal.
And then people are like, oh, overnight success. And you're like, no, it's 23 years later.
She's been doing it for a long time.
Since she was 15 years old, since a baby.
Yeah, and you have to put in that work. You know, as a comic, like, it takes years
10,000 hours.
Yeah.
Well, somebody told me a long time ago, they're like, oh, it'll take you 10 years to start to find your voice. And you know, when you start even ego, you're like, not this lady.
You're like, no way, no, I'll be that person that everybody's talking about that hit it young.
I'm gonna be the one anomaly. And then you hit 10 years and you're like, this is...
That makes sense.
I'm just figuring it out, starting.
So when did you get the comedy bug? How old were you?
Like, I never knew it was something as a woman that I could do or make a living doing. And then I went through a really bad breakup, and then I think I was just sleeping on my friend's couch, and I had no cash, and I was like, oh, I should probably redirect some energy. And my therapist and my dad's like, you really don't have any skills.
Oh, you're like, thanks, Dad. Okay.
He was like, you're funny. You've always been funny. And he was like, I think stand-up's your calling. And I think my therapist at the time was like, I just tried to make him laugh. Like, I was never really trying to work through issues. So I just want to like entertain and pay him to do that. And he was the other one that was like, you should really just give it a try.
That's really
interesting.
interesting.
And then I started doing it. It was probably 2002.
Okay.
And
No, I mean, you've been doing it for a while.
A long time. And then I was at the Comedy Store, and I signed up for this open mic, and I didn't even have any material, because you used to go, and you would put your name in a hat, and then you would come back that night, and they would pull a number, and then the numbers, like 1 to 20, that would perform the following week. So within that week, I was like, I better write a few jokes. But you only had 3 minutes, so it wasn't like it was that much time to fill. And I brought friends, and I really believed I was a star. And then the next time, no friends.
And you're like, oh boy.
Real tinker. It was a real thumbs
Was it at the
down.
store again, or was
Comedy Store?
Okay.
Real stinker.
Yeah.
Like humiliating, where you go, oh God.
Like no laughs?
Nothing.
That's brutal.
It's funny because there's times, like 17 years in, like you're a certain level of always good. It's always consistent. And then every once in a while, it'll be like once every year, you get one of those shows where you're like, I didn't even know I could do that bad anymore.
That sucked, yeah.
Wow.
But that humbles you and brings you back to reality and be like, I kind of have to keep working at this thing no matter what.
Well, you know, my husband lives in Italy, so I've been doing shows in Europe. Like, I've done
what's that like?
It's kind of like you're new again, and you have to work on like a different skill set that you were never forced to work on, like trying to find that language barrier and trying to find certain word choices that work for like a weird pile of Croatians. Like, so,
You're like, what's going to make these guys laugh?
but I think it does make you stronger because
Yeah.
to me it takes me back to the time where I was doing like bar shows. Like I haven't done bar shows in a long time,
But
or
those
like
are
a
tough
bowling
crowds.
alley,
Yeah, oh
and
my
the same
gosh.
thing, Slovenians, the easiest.
So where are some of the weirdest places you've done shows?
This one I did for this. It was like a prince, like an Arab prince, and it was like a prince and like 100 prostitutes
Oh my
in the
gosh.
Seychelles.
Wow.
I feel like I'm probably going to be murdered after I give away these secrets.
They're like, they swore you'd never tell
Hey,
again.
the dude just like owns this hotel and he loves comedy, and
Wow.
I guess you got to keep the prostitutes entertained.
Sure.
And so he
They're
just
like, we're going to give April a call real
he
quick.
brings in like comedian, like almost every comic I know has
Wow.
done this weird gig. It's like amazing. You're in a beautiful resort in the Seychelles and you're eating like sizzling steak off hot rocks.
Hey,
and
there you go.
do 30 minutes and you never get to meet the dude. You're like ushered in a back door,
Wow.
like just like help, and then he scurries you away with your pile of cash.
Well, I'm sure it's pretty funny, like when you realize that other comedians had done that before, because you're talking like, oh, you've done New York, St. Louis, like, have
You
ever
done the gig in the
with-
Seychelles,
Yeah.
and you try to get on it, and you're like, I want that gig.
Like, pretty sweet gig,
yeah, it's a
right?
good gig. It
Yeah.
pays really well. You only do 30 minutes. You're a little terrified. You can't talk about about religion.
Will I make it out of here? Yeah, no
That's
religion,
like
right?
he probably owns Emirates, and you're like, you're
Oh
not
my
flying
gosh.
home. But I did it with another comic, so at least like we had each other.